Alright, so today I want to answer a question that some of you might have right now. And by some of you, I mean either Christmas noobs or maybe people who are questioning their faith in Bungie, and quite understandably so, and the future of Destiny as not only Destiny 2, but, the franchise as a whole. So I'm going to split this answer into two categories for those two different player bases. For maybe people who bought into a DLC on a deal, because Destiny 2, we have to remember, is a free to try game, free to play the base game, and there's actually a lot in the base game. So if you do get a DLC for like $5, $10, $15, it's completely worth it to play the game and do that content, because Final Shape has a lot of fantastic stuff in it. You have the Pale Heart, you of course have Salvation's Edge, which is a fantastic raid in its entirety. You have so much content beyond that. You have exotic quests, you have so many weapons, you have the craftable Pale Heart weapons, and again, just in general, there's a lot of content in base D2. So you add a DLC like the Final Shape to that mix, and no doubt you should at least play that content. Now, if you're someone like me who's sunk thousands of hours into Destiny, maybe you're not a returning player, but a concurrent player, then yeah, the answer more or less is up to you. Is there something that you enjoy doing so much in Destiny that you still enjoy doing even when there's a content drought? Or because of the content drought, are you thinking, okay, there's nothing for me to do? My favorite thing maybe is to try new PvE content, which there's very little of right now, and the new stuff that's in the game, like Onslaught Salvation and Tomb of Elders, well, they both have different issues. Salvation has a lot of rewards in the new Onslaught version. It's just not super challenging. It's not super different from the original Onslaught. It's still fun in its own sense if you like doing Onslaught. Like, you're not gonna not have fun doing more Onslaught. It's just not different enough, right? There's very little variety. And I would argue that actually the bosses in Onslaught Salvation are easier. That's just my opinion. You guys might think differently. It's definitely a lot easier now that they nerfed all those Colossi, because holy guacamole, there was just, like, you could never see. Like, it was horrible. Tomb of Elders has a different issue. I like the difference in the variety in each boss and each mechanic that every boss has, well, to, kill them, because essentially it's just, do this, collect, bombs, or whatever, like kill a Lucent Knight to kill, some more Lucent Hive. It's pretty simple in its entirety, defuse mines. You do have like the bonus objectives in Contest of Elders to make sure that you get the most loot in a which, the most loot isn't that much loot anyways. And not only that, there's 3 chests, but only 2 of them give rewards. I don't know why they haven't fixed this yet. There's literally one chest that just gives you like 200 glimmer. And like, what am I gonna do in this economy with 200 glimmer? Like, it's like, here's an egg in these trying times. It's so bad. But the other 2 chests are pretty good, and at the end, you do get a decent amount of loot. Kind of like a Coil-esque loot drop, but it's just not the same, because you just get a lot of guns, and the guns, generally speaking, weapons in general, just, they don't give you the itch that, it doesn't satisfy the itch, rather, anymore, and it's irritating. But, the thing I love about the Coil is that you could farm materials for, like, with no limit, right? There's not like you do one and you get your Ascendant Shard and you're done. It was, you can just do as many of these as you want for as long as you want, max out your Ascendant Alloys, and it rewarded your investment, right? It was really fun, and the Coil wasn't easy either. It was challenging. And Tomb of Elders, it isn't challenging, and the loot isn't there. So, again, don't blame anyone for saying, hey, PvE isn't great, PvP is at the worst it's ever been. I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to go play other games. And that's ultimately something you have to decide for yourself. Do you want to go play other games right now? Or, again, is whatever you do in Destiny, be it PvP or both PvE and PvP, can you enjoy both of those things? I'm one of those people So I don't mind going and playing comp, because comp is better than trials right now, at least a little bit better at the start of the week when everyone's trying to get their deadlock rolls. But at the end of the week, or when you're, say it's Monday and you're playing trials, I highly recommend you don't. It's just not a good time. In trials, you have levers, you have people who intentionally throw. Maybe they're just trying to rank up trials. Maybe they already have their flawless, so they don't care. They're just at their 7th win, trying to farm the adept weapon that week. The population is so low that you're guaranteed in any card that you play to probably play the same team twice, the same players twice. I had one match, or I guess 2 matches actually, where I swapped teams and it was the same 6 people, and I'm like, this never happens ever. Like, maybe once you'll run into the same player again in a session, but now it is you are guaranteed to have that happen, because it's just that bad. But I digress. This is why you should take a break if you are someone like me. There are so many good games out there. That's why the concurrent player count is where it is. We're seeing it at the worst point it's ever been. But that's why you should encourage newer players to play, right? Because there's so much for them to do in the game. You might not have that spark anymore. You might not have the ambition to play Destiny, and that's fine. But I think to just say that Destiny 2 in general is unplayable right now for everyone that's just not right. Now, I will say that if you get into the game right now and you do everything that you possibly can up to the current season, yeah, you're not going to have much to do after that. So I would definitely have something else to play after this, because, yeah. But, I mean, if you're starting fresh, again, there's so much to do. But I can guarantee you that even if you are, you're probably not going to spend the hundreds of dollars on each and every Destiny release. And you really shouldn't. That's a whole other conversation, but there are DLCs that simply don't have any content in the game anymore that aren't worth buying. And the only ones, again, that I would bother with are maybe, Beyond Light forward, which would be Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, and Final Shape. With Witch Queen and Final Shape probably being the 2 that I would definitely get if I were a new player, or if I were telling a new player what to play. So, yeah. Aside from that, I'm really enjoying Marvel Rivals myself. I haven't completed my own Elden Ring playthrough because I just procrastinate, and my neurodivergence doesn't help me in completing games. So I try to play Elden Ring little by little. It is also a game. It's just such a massive game that I have to tell myself that, chipping away at it isn't the worst thing, but I'm almost done with that myself. Again, there are so many games out there to play right now, not just new ones. There are old games. There are like a lot of live service games that are thriving. Yes, Fortnite is one of them. It always will be. Call of Duty is a fun multiplayer game. And like I said, Marvel Rivals is awesome as well for people looking for that hero shooter vibe. There aren't that many looter shooter games, MMO-esque, which is what Destiny tries to be, but the looter shooter games, just there's not that many good ones aside from Destiny, at least that I enjoy. So again, I will always come back until the game is in the ground. But the cycle has just continued for Destiny. We get the new expansion, things die down after the new expansion, which was Final Shape, right? And the following seasons, they might be okay at best, but they're never gonna have the hype and the player count that these expansions do. And I'm not saying that Destiny is in a good spot, because it isn't. But I'm saying that maybe it's just, again, repeating that cycle of the high of an expansion, the low of losing all those new players, and people finishing the story of literally the entire saga. The story's over for a lot of people, and they won't come back until there's something new and interesting, and there really isn't anything right now. So when that does happen, I think Destiny will have a resurgence at some point. At least I hope it does. If it doesn't, then it's had a good run, and like I said, there are plenty of other games out there that we can all play to satisfy that Destiny itch. it just might not be as satisfying because, man, Destiny is just such a unique game, which is why I want it to succeed. But I mean, you can lead a horse to water in Bungie, right? Bungie's the horse, but you can't make them drink the water, which is the water is just giving your community what they want and just being a decent company, and that hasn't happened. So, at least for now. Anyways, that's all I have. I could talk about this for so much longer, but that would be a waste of your time. So I'll see you next time.